Hello everybody, welcome, thank you for being here. So today's video I want to talk about a pretty potent and dense dark program in the collective consciousness that is boiling up right now in order to alchemize into higher states of consciousness. We're literally dismantling it. And this specific program is the sex trafficking and the pedophilia rings that are coming up right now. And I want to discuss how you, me, many millions of humans have the ability to stand in the arena, to stand in the collective consciousness and shift and alchemize this program just by being in our every now. How are we alchemizing it? By being in our every now. I want to share that with you. I want to assist you in navigating this, because these programs are dense and they are in the arena that we're standing in. And many of us cannot look away, and we want to know what we can do to assist. How can I help, right? What can I do to help? So this video is going to talk about what is a collective consciousness, what are these programs, what is the consciousnesses within the programs that we're actually alchemizing, what are we alchemizing those consciousnesses into, and how do I do it? How are we doing this? Okay, how? And before I did this video, I picked a card. I said, okay, what card describes what I'm about to discuss with everybody? And the card was, take a stand. Take a stand. So I want to say that this is not about necessarily protesting. This is not about standing up and screaming and fighting. This is a very different way of alchemizing this massively large program that we call the child sex trafficking and the pedophilia rings that have been around for thousands of years. We are shifting this by being warriors of light in our every now, through our now moments in our now life. That's how we're going to be shifting it. So when they say take a stand, it's being able to have the courage to say, I am here in this now body for this now moment. This is why your guys are here. This is why you're here. And this message is not a message of doom and gloom. This is a message of light and love and freedom and the dismantling of these massively heavy, dense programs that have been hidden within our collective for thousands of years. And it is an absolute miraculous gift that we get to now watch them and play a part in dismantling them. You play a part in dismantling them. So that's what this video is going to be about. I want to share a story in terms of how was I guided to do this video. So as many of you know, I've been on a road trip. And a couple of days ago, I pulled into a town. And I went into this Airbnb that was secluded, off the beaten path. And I walked into the Airbnb, and within about 10 to 15 minutes, I felt completely unsafe. I was anxious. It didn't feel right. Something felt off. I felt like I was encaged. My whole body started having massive anxiety attacks. Something didn't feel right. And it's a beautiful house on a river. I was like with mountains all around. It didn't make sense. And I had a couple of encounters with men within about an hour of being there. Very strange encounters. Talking to me about fires that may happen in the area, how many people are with me in case there's a fire, so they know how many people to pull out of the house. There's no police that come around, so we're all by ourselves. Just really strange energies. And so I was like fighting. I was trying to rationalize and make sense of what I was intuitively, energetically feeling. My resonance said, pack up your stuff and leave. You're not safe. Give yourself a voice. You have a choice. You are free. But the rational mind said, you don't have a choice. You have to stay. You're not thinking logically. That makes no sense. You have to just push yourself through the anxiety, abuse yourself. Don't give yourself a voice, right? And within about an hour, I said, no, I'm not going to buy into those dense consciousnesses by saying, no, you have to stay. Don't trust your resonance. Don't trust your truth. Don't trust your voice, right? Regardless of what logically made sense. I packed up my bags and I left. I didn't feel safe. It didn't feel right. I got to a hotel and I booked another Airbnb for the next night. When I got to the hotel, the password for the Wi-Fi was safe. That's it. This one word, safe. And I knew that this was about safety. I knew that this was about safety. I just didn't realize exactly what they meant until the next day. I check into the next Airbnb the following day, and instantaneously I felt unsafe. I felt gross and dirty. I felt like there was dark energies around me. I felt like I wanted to crawl out of my skin. I felt fear and terror. I felt things that I have never felt before. I was bawling. I bawled the day before. I bawled the night before. I was crying when I walked into the Airbnb. And again, I'm rationalizing this. This doesn't make sense. Am I losing my mind? Am I crazy? Do I have mental problems? Do I need to go see a therapist? I was on the phone with my best friend and my mom that night because I didn't understand what was happening. I thought I had a problem. I thought there was something wrong with me. How am I not able to stay at 2 different Airbnbs in a town that I couldn't wait to get to? A town that I had dreamt about. It made no sense. And yet, on an energetic level, every ounce of energy in my body, my entire resonance said, get out. You're not safe. Now, I know I'm safe. I know nothing's going to happen to me. But that was the energy that I was picking up in the collective. I spent the night. I got up the next morning. I followed my intuition, followed my resonance, my truth, my sovereignty. I listened to me. I didn't force myself through those energies, meaning I didn't force myself through the anxiety, the stress. Oh, you got to be strong. There's a lesson here. Just move through it, right? Like we always say that to ourselves. There's some lesson here. You'll be stronger afterwards. It's a very third dimensional kind of masculine way of ignoring your energetic frequency, which is saying, please honor yourself. Please love yourself. Please remember that you're free and that you have a choice and that there is no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. And your voice, your resonance, your sovereignty is the most important thing in every now, Lori. That's all that matters, right? So these older paradigms were popping up, feeling bad, feeling guilty, feeling all these things. I said, screw it, I'm going. I don't care. I can't live any longer in those paradigms. Packed up, got a coffee, went to a meadow and sat and started just bawling because I just couldn't understand it. Talked to a really great friend of mine and I talked to my guides. And my friend of mine said, you know what you're describing? You're describing the collective consciousness of those sex trafficking, those children that are being sex trafficked, the children that are being enslaved, the children that are being tortured, the children that are being murdered. All of these things that are happening right now in the collective that have been happening, that's boiling up, Lori, for the collective to alchemize. Sounds like you're feeling that right now in a really intense way. And my whole body started to vibrate and have goosebumps. Even right now, I have goosebumps. And I just started to bawl. And as I was crying, I heard my guides, the Galactic Federation of Light, come in and they said, this is how you alchemize that program. This is how you're alchemizing it, Lori. You do 2 things, right? I'll talk about this in a second, but you You feel the collective energy. By being in your now moment, feeling whatever you're feeling, and then you choose the higher state of being every single time or as often as you can. And when you do that, they said, you are alchemizing the consciousness of all of those children and babies and infants and adolescents and teenagers that can't do it yet. You are pulling them out of that program on an energetic level by choosing what they can't yet choose because they're still in the program. And I said, holy shit. This is not about standing up and protesting. There's many programs to do that. And when I say standing up and protesting, what I mean is, of course we want to speak out. We want to stand up, right? The card said, take a stand, right? Of course we want to do all those things. But the way we shift this, the sex trafficking, the pedophilia rings, is energetic. My guide said there are a group of contracted humans that are going to go in and already are going in and dismantling these programs. They're already dismantling them. The role of millions of light warriors like yourself is to see it, to feel it in your now, and to alchemize it by choosing higher states of consciousness, choosing new ways of being for those that don't have the ability yet to choose. And that is why I'm doing this video. So that you can understand that if you choose, you have the ability to assist and alchemize that dense, horrific, dark, massively large paradigm that we call the child sex trafficking and the pedophilia rings that have been around for thousands of years, which is the next big, massive shift in the collective. And you don't have to go through it with heartache. Yes, your heart's going to break. Yes, you may cry. Yes, you may break down. But then you pick yourself up and you remember that you're a warrior of light. You are shining brighter than those programs that you have to look at. And that you can open your heart as much as you want. And when you love in your everyday, you are loving for those children that can't love in that moment they're in. When you choose to be free, you're being free for those children that can't be free yet. When you speak your truth to somebody that's trying to keep you down, you're speaking your truth for those children that can't speak yet. When you unshackle yourself from any experience that you're having that makes you feel shackled, you are assisting those children that can't unshackle themselves yet. Everything you do in a now moment going forward is for those that are still stuck in the program that you are alchemizing. Sit with that for a moment. That is powerful beyond measure. That is why you are here. That's why you're here. And so you can stand up and we can go and have massively large protests in the street. But if you're not actually energetically shifting those consciousnesses within that paradigm in your now, those consciousnesses are going to stay on the planet. So let me explain this to you. In this video, I'm going to talk about what is a collective consciousness. I'm going to talk about what are the programs that are in the collective consciousnesses, specifically the sex trafficking and the pedophilia rings. I'm going to talk about the consciousnesses that are experienced within those programs. I'm going to talk about how the alchemization process of those consciousnesses into higher states of consciousness. And I'm going to talk about how you're going to do it. Okay, let's talk about the collective consciousness. I drew a picture. I hope you can see it. This is a large collective consciousness. This is our human collective consciousness. This is also known as the matrix. Okay? And here you are standing in it. This is our arena. And there are an infinite amount of programs or paradigms that are inside the collective consciousness. And there are denser ones and not so dense ones. A program is a way in which we live, it's a specific way that we live. It's specific programs. There's thousands of them in the government. There's thousands of them in our school systems. There's thousands of them in our health systems. There's thousands of them in our religions, right? They're a subset of ways of being, emotions, thoughts, behaviors, experiences, right? And they're held in a program. 5G is a program. Chemtrails is a program. Veganism is a program. School systems are programs, right? Pedophilia and the pedophilia rings and the sex trafficking, that's a program. Vaccines, that's a program, right? There's an infinite amount of programs. Every program holds consciousnesses inside of them, vibrating in a specific frequency. These consciousnesses are emotions, thoughts, behaviors, belief systems, experiences. And you have a choice in every now which program you play in, right? You get to choose. This program that I'm talking about right now, the sex trafficking, the child sex trafficking and the pedophilia programs, is a massively large program. And it is a very, very dark, dense program, which means that the consciousnesses that are experienced inside that program are a very low frequency, which is why it is very difficult for the human, first of all, to even recognize that it's happening. And then once the human recognizes it, it's even more difficult to feel it. Because what you're doing is you are feeling the consciousnesses within that program. What we are doing is we are alchemizing those consciousnesses into a 5D consciousness. That is the ascension process. That is the shift in the collective consciousness. We are literally taking a collective consciousness in the third dimension and shifting it into a 5-dimension consciousness. So here's a huge collective consciousness matrix that's in a 5D. We're still over here in the arena, right? And these are not separate. These are in one now moment. So there is a 5D collective while there is still a 3D collective, okay? But we have to alchemize, just like our own physical bodies. We have to alchemize these dense programs in order to shift the collective into a 5D field. So that is what we as light warriors are doing in every single now, and it's energetic. It is energetic. So you are tapping into this sex trafficking and pedophilia ring right now, right? Children, babies, adults that are being kidnapped, that are being purchased, that are being tortured, that are being murdered, all for the sake of an elite group of humans to find pleasure, power, control. Those consciousnesses, they look like, what would they look like? I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Fear, terror, silence, disassociation from the body, no voice, shackled, caged, victimhood, victimized. You cannot feel, you cannot speak, you have no voice, you have no truth. You You can't listen to your body. You can't honor your body. Sex is about power, control, manipulation. These are really dense, dark, low frequency consciousnesses that are held in this sex pedophilia ring program. Those are the consciousnesses, dark consciousnesses, that we are literally alchemizing and walking over the bridge to shift into these other consciousnesses. That's what we're doing. So the consciousnesses that you're going to be feeling, that you're going to be seeing, again, is going to feel like fear, anxiety, terror, heartbreak, silenced, inability to speak, not listening to your truth, not being able to speak your truth, not honoring your truth, feeling like somebody is shackling you or holding you back, like you don't have rights, right? That you are not, you don't have the ability to feel your truths, your sovereignty, your resonance. Your resonance doesn't matter, right? Going back to the story of me being in those 2 Airbnbs, I was feeling into the paradigm, the program, that my truth, my resonance doesn't matter. I can't listen to that. I need to be abused. I need to be tortured. I need to be enslaved, right? I was feeling that because I was tapping into that collective program. The consciousnesses that those consciousnesses are shifting into or alchemizing into are love, freedom, expansion, truth, trust, your resonance, your voice, your freedom, your choice, your embodiment, getting into your body, right? This is when you're in this paradigm, in this program, you are disassociated from your body. You're disassociated from your body, meaning the children are disassociated from your body. And so you may, as you're tapping into this collective, you may feel disassociated from your body. So this is a quantum space. This doesn't mean that if you are feeling these consciousnesses, that you were in this program, that you were a part of this program, right? So there could be many reasons that you are experiencing in your now disembodiment or disassociation or fear or terror or the inability to speak, right? For instance, here I am in this town, and all of a sudden I am feeling these experiences based on being in these 2 different Airbnbs. Being in the 2 different Airbnbs had nothing to do with this program. But what was happening was I was tapping into the consciousnesses that are within this collective. The experience I was having was allowing me to feel the consciousnesses in this paradigm or program that we are currently alchemizing. And as soon as I felt those consciousnesses and recognized what was happening, I started to choose new consciousnesses. In the now moment that I was having, tapping into these consciousnesses in the collective that we're clearing and alchemizing, I started to choose higher states of consciousness. I gave myself a voice. I stepped away from logic and mind and I moved into resonance, my energetic field. I gave myself the ability to honor me. I recognized that I was free. I recognized that I was in my body and I'm going to love who I am in my body. Right? I made the choice. I spoke up. Regardless of how I was experiencing these consciousnesses, which was, you're stupid, you don't have a right to do that. Why would you possibly leave this Airbnb? You're supposed to be here for 5 nights. Push through it. Stay silent. Don't speak about it. Don't give yourself a choice. You have no choice, right? All these things I was feeling just because I went into a new town and had an experience in an Airbnb. So this is not about you stepping into the sex trafficking program and diving into it and trying to like unravel it. That's not how you alchemize it. You alchemize it by standing in your nows. Standing in your now moment, experiencing whatever is coming to you. And remembering that if it feels anything like the consciousnesses that are held in the program called sex trafficking and pedophilia rings, your job as a warrior of light is to choose higher states of consciousness for those that are physically in this program that can't choose yet. They need us to walk them over the bridge and dismantle the program that they're stuck in. They need the light warriors and the humans that are contracted to literally break it up. They need us to choose these on an energetic level so that we can alchemize and break them free. It doesn't matter what's coming up in your now, whether it's a breakup, whether it's leaving a job, whether it's standing up to somebody, whether it's speaking your truth, whether it's writing a book, whether it's doing a video, whatever it is, changing your diet, whatever is happening in your now. Feel the collective consciousnesses that you may be experiencing and tapping into based on this program that's being dismantled right now. It's literally blowing up. I want you to visualize this cloud as blowing up, and I want you to literally visualize terror, fear, no freedom, no choice, victimhood, don't honor your truth, don't honor your resonance, don't honor your voice, shackled, enslaved, whatever it may be. What else is that? Disassociating from your body, right? When you start to feel those things, remember, you are feeling the collective from this program. You're feeling the collective from this program. And it's not about jumping in and getting angry and angry and angry and angry and angry and angry. It's about feeling it so that you can choose. I am free. I have a choice. I have a voice. My resonance, my energetic field is the most important thing that I listen to. I am not a victim. The children are experiencing victimhood. The children are experiencing not having a voice. The children are experiencing torture. The children are experiencing terror and fear. You, as a human outside of that program, may experience these consciousnesses in a very different way, but you're free. You're free. And from that space of freedom, your role is to choose. Choose love, honor yourself, love yourself. If you are in a relationship that is violent, if you are in a relationship that is abusive, if you are in a relationship that doesn't feel right any longer, you are free. And you are experiencing part of this collective consciousness that is designed to break up. Sexual abuse is a program that is tied to these collective consciousnesses inside this sex ring, the sex trafficking and the pedophilia. So all of the humans that have experienced sexual abuse, that is a subset, that is a sub-program that stemmed from this massively large sex trafficking and pedophilia ring that's breaking up. So a lot of humans are starting to recognize sexual abuse they had that they didn't realize. They're starting to speak up about the sexual abuse. They're starting to have a voice. Because if you think about sexual abuse, it's very similar to the consciousnesses that are in here. Fear, terror, disassociation, no voice, don't honor your feelings, don't honor your body, right? You're a victim. All of these horrible consciousnesses. So right now, there are many humans that are starting to break out of ways of living that are connected to this collective consciousness that is clearing. It's like little energetic pulse, like electrical currents that are tapping into all of these humans that are light workers, way showers, starseeds, whatever you want to call them, that have been living in a consciousness and a program connected to this massively large, dense program that's clearing. And they are shifting out of it. They're speaking up. They're having a voice. They're saying no more. They're feeling. They're loving themselves, right? This is how we shift the collective, you guys. This is how the collective consciousness alchemizes. This is ascension right here. This is ascension. So how can you, in your every now, assist in alchemizing not just the sex trafficking and the pedophilia rings, but all the other programs? Black Lives Matter, right? That kind of program, the racism, the inequalities, animal abuse. You don't necessarily have to go out and physically be a part of the physical shift, meaning I'm going to stand up, I'm going to have a sign, I'm going to walk the streets. You don't have to do that. You are standing in it, feeling it, choosing new ways. So when you feel yourself not having a choice, you say to yourself, I have a choice. And I'm feeling not having a choice because there is a collective consciousness that I'm in, and there is a paradigm or program in that collective consciousness that is breaking up. And in that program, there are humans or animals or beings that don't feel like they have a choice. And by me tapping into, I don't have a choice, I don't have a choice, I don't have a choice, I'm tapping into that collective. And I get to say, wait a second, I'm here to alchemize. I have a choice. You are a way shower. And what that means is that you are showing the way into these 5D consciousnesses first. You're breaking this up. That's how huge you are. That's how important you are. Literally, in every single now moment, you get to walk the consciousness through the bridge of the 4D into this 5D by being it over and over and over and over. When you find yourself experiencing any sort of judgment around other people, right? Judging people, criticizing people, making people right or wrong, right? That is an aspect of the collective consciousness. That is in specific paradigms like racism. That's in paradigms like inequalities. That's in paradigms with like animal abuse, right? If you think about all of these paradigms that hold judgment, that hold right, like this is the right way, this is the wrong way. I'm good, you're bad, right? Those are large consciousnesses that are in many programs. When you are in your now feeling any of that, it's not about you anymore. It's about the collective. It's about the programs that consciousness is in. And by choosing a different way of being from a higher state of consciousness, you're alchemizing it. So when you watch yourself judging someone, you say to yourself, hold on a second. I'm experiencing a consciousness that's denser, that's attached to a program, that's alchemizing right now, blowing up. And my role as a way shower and light worker, starseed, warrior, is to choose the 5D consciousness. So what do? Everyone is equal. There is no necessity to judge anyone. Let's say that you are having an experience of a fear of speaking your truth. That is a consciousness. That is a consciousness that is held in the collective, the matrix. That is a consciousness that is held in many programs. And right now, it's massively held in the sex paradigm, sex trafficking, and pedophilia ring program. And so when you recognize yourself saying, I'm afraid to speak my truth, you also remember, wait a second, I'm feeling this right now so that I can alchemize the humans that are in that program that are feeling that same way. I don't feel like I can trust my resonance. I don't feel like I can trust me. That's a consciousness you're tapping into in the collective. That's a consciousness that's in a program. And right now, that's a consciousness that's in the sex trafficking pedophilia program. And so when you feel that, I can't trust my resonance, imagine that you are being asked to trust it so that you can free the humans that are in that program. When you believe that you don't have a choice and that you are a victim in your now, that's a consciousness in the collective. That's a consciousness in the program of child sex trafficking and pedophilia rings. And you're feeling it and you're experiencing it in your now so that you can say, wait a second, I'm free. I'm tapping into a program where there are humans feeling that and they aren't free yet. They can't free themselves out of that program yet. So what can I do? I can choose to remember I'm not a victim. I can choose to remember that I have a choice. Because they don't yet. Every single thing you're feeling in your now moment is not just yours. It's part of the collective because you're standing in it. And not only is it not just yours, but you are feeling it in order to clear the dense programs, alchemize the dense programs, and you do that by choosing new ways of being. You choose to remember love and feel empathy, feel compassion as often as you can in your nows. You become the observer of every single thing you're feeling. You start listening to your resonance, your energetic field, more than ever before without the logic and the mind trying to control you. You watch in your now moments how often you are silenced by others. How often you may be put down by others. And in that now moment, can you say to yourself, that is a collective consciousness. I'm feeling it. I'm a warrior of light. I'm here to alchemize. That is a consciousness that is in that program called sex trafficking or pedophilia ring. And if I can slowly start to shift my way of being by saying, no more. No more. You can't speak to me like that. You can't tell me what to do. I'm a sovereign being of light. I have a voice. I have truths. I have an energetic field. When you start doing that, you break that program apart and the children become free. The adolescents, the teenagers, they become free. They energetically feel it. That energetic program is dismantled. And it may seem like that seems impossible. How is that possible? It's all energy. It's always just been energy. All of it. All of it. And the way you approach these programs energetically will dictate how quickly they break down. Meaning if you are angry and you come at it like a fight, F this, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight this. And anger and rage, that's an energetic frequency you're putting out of anger and rage and F you and blah, blah. If you come from it with love, compassion, empathy, not meaning I'm going to love and have compassion and empathy for those that did it, but love, compassion, and empathy for the actual program. Okay, the actual program that's breaking up, not the individuals. I'm not saying you have to love the individuals that have been doing this. It's great if you can. That would be even more miraculous. But can you have empathy, love, compassion, and an understanding of what is energetically being dismantled? Can you hold that in your body? Can you practice in every single now? What is coming up for me in my now? And is it connected to any program? What is the program that you're playing into telling you? Are you choosing to believe the program? Or are you choosing to step out of the programs and stand in a higher state of consciousness? Any program. Any program. You are not shackled to those programs. You're not shackled to that collective consciousness. It is not the law. All it is an infinite amount of programs that are floating around in clouds of consciousness, creating a collective consciousness that is shifting from 3D to 5D. And the pedophile rings and the child sex trafficking right now is a very, very dark, large program or cloud of consciousness. It's being dismantled. You are here to assist in the dismantling and the alchemizing of it by being in your every now and practicing being in higher states of consciousness, especially when you are tapping into that program. That is how you dismantle it, alchemize it, and free those children. What if every time you spoke your truth, you were freeing them? What if every time you stood up for you and loved you and wrapped your arms around you and had compassion for you and remembered that you were free and sovereign and strong and you had every right to do, be, and feel whatever it is you need to do, be, and feel, you are allowing the children to feel the same. What if you understood that? Think of how fast we would shift that program energetically. This is how we do it, you guys. This is how we do it. And we don't want to beat ourselves up. You don't want to say after this video, oh my God, I didn't speak my truth. That means I'm making it worse. No. We have an infinite amount of opportunities to continue to practice being in 5D consciousnesses. There's no right or wrong way. You got to have compassion for the fact that you're in this. It's not your fault you're standing here. And you get to choose how you navigate it. You get to choose what you want to alchemize. You get to choose how you move through this bridge, walk this bridge. You get to choose it. Some days it's easy to walk over and alchemize, right? To choose different ways of being. Walking over the bridge means I'm going to choose a different way of being. I'm alchemizing that. That's how you do it, right? Some days it's easy. Some days it's not so easy. Some days your heart breaks. Sometimes you don't even want to look and you turn and shut everything off. Do whatever you need to do to navigate this. Some programs you're like, yes, I'm going to dive in and really help alchemize it. And some programs you're like, I don't care. Right? I'm not playing in that one, meaning I'm not going to participate, listen to it. I don't want to, right? You also want to be very, very gentle with your energetic field and listening to those programs, right? Because it is very dark, dark, dark energy that is alchemizing. It's very dense. So you want to be protective around your energetic field. You don't want to abuse yourself because you're not going to be of service if you do. And not everyone is going to feel a resonance to this message, which is Okay, we're all standing in the arena. We're all standing in the collective consciousness, and we all get to choose. But this is why you're here. And now you see how powerful you are. How you, just by being you, over and over and over again, and being the higher states of consciousness as much as you can in baby steps. And there are an infinite amount of higher states of consciousness to be. So we practice. That's breaking that program out. It's dismantling it. It's freeing those children. That's how we do it. And again, remember, the Galactic Federation of Light has said this over and over and over again. It has already been dismantled. It's already done. This is not a program where it's doomsday. Holy shit, we're screwed. This is a program, just like injustices and racism is a massive program that's being dismantled. This is a program that's being dismantled. It is a program that is alchemizing. It will not exist in another now moment. It will be gone from the collective. How else do you think we move into what everyone likes to call New Earth or 5D? These programs break down, dismantle, and alchemize. They have to. And a lot of times the human thinks that when they see it, we're going to hell in a handbasket. It's getting worse. It's not. It's getting better. This is the shift in consciousness. This is how you do it. You got to break apart and see all the pieces of every dense program, which is very, very challenging, which is why we are so loved and so honored for being in, for choosing and volunteering to be in the human body at this time. This is why we are cheered by all of these higher dimensional light beings. Because we are dismantling very dense consciousness for humanity, for the earth plane. Because really, from the larger perspective, it has nothing to do with you. It really doesn't have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with you shifting humanity and the collective into this field. But it has everything to do with you because the only way you do it is by coming back to you, loving you, honoring you, speaking your truths, not letting people abuse you, not letting people walk all over you, breaking old collective consciousnesses that are held in many different programs, freeing ourselves. So there you go. There you go. And what I also have been told is once this starts to really dismantle and once it starts to break apart, become more real in our collective, and we start to alchemize it, the next large program that's coming, I mean, there's multiple little programs that are going to be dismantled at the same time, kind of like dominoes. So the educational system, the monetary system, the governmental system, these structures are going to start to be dismantled as well, the health system. But while all of these are starting to dismantle, disclosure is going to start to happen. So we're going to start to see higher dimensional light beings, aliens, ETs, whatever funky name you want to call them. That's the next sort of really big rattle that's going to come. But the only way that happens is by shifting more density out of our matrix and holding higher frequencies in the 5D field so that we can connect and tap into the higher dimensional beings that are going to come into the field with us, show themselves, work with us, assist us. They can only do it, and we can only do it by breaking these programs apart and shifting them into, alchemizing them into higher frequencies, so that we start to stand in the higher frequencies more and more. And we start being the higher frequencies more and more. And we're holding higher frequencies. Our matrix is holding higher frequencies. And then the beings can start to come in. So it's all a divine plan. It's all playing out perfectly. This is the ascension. There's nothing wrong with any of this. It's not fun, perhaps, right? It doesn't feel good all the time. But it's a beautiful, 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 magical, like spectacular experience right now. This is amazing what's happening. This is unbelievably amazing what is occurring. This physical shift in consciousness that you are a part of, that you are a part of, and you play a massive role. So I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for courageously standing in the arena and starting to remember and recognize your role, and having compassion and love and empathy for yourself as you navigate this. Remember, you alchemize that program that's popping up all over social media, not yet over the news, because the media is, they are controlling what we see and what we don't see. But what we are watching is a massive, large, dense program that we call child sex trafficking, the pedophilia rings. And in every now moment, you are going to be shown how you have been experiencing the consciousnesses that are within that program. And you get to choose to break that program by stepping into higher states of consciousness in every now. Give yourself a voice. Speak your truth. Honor your resonance. Be present. Love yourself. Love others. Do not abuse you. Don't let others abuse you. Remember that you're free, that you're sovereign, that you have choice. You're not a victim. You're expansive. You're light. You're a warrior. Thank you for being here. I love you.